Hi everyone, we are Angela Franco, Mia Langston, Christina Lawrence, and Xiao Zai, Group 3 of Class of 2023, Chemical Engineering Senior Design. Throughout this video, we'll be discussing what PFAS are, why they are concerned, and what our proposed designs are. You probably have never heard of PFAS or polyfluoroalkyl substances, but you've definitely encountered them in your daily life. PFAS are everywhere, from consumer goods to industrial processes. Because of their popularity, they often enter and persist in the environment. You might ask, why is this a problem for humans? While there's no formal regulation of these chemicals, recent studies have linked PFAS to harmful health effects such as cancer, reproductive problems, and decreased immune response, even in low concentrations. That being said, it makes sense that we would want to remove PFAS from the environment and lower our risk of exposure. However, the big challenge is how to actually remediate contaminated sites. PFAS are stable chemical structures, and within their structure they have a carbon-fluorine bond, which requires a high amount of energy to break and degrade.
Currently, there is limited research into soil treatments outside of soil excavation and incineration, which are expensive and require digging up of the contaminated soil and transport. Therefore, our sponsor, the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, CTDEEP, want us to research the most recent soil remediation techniques and assess how effective, feasible, and expensive they may be. Our first experiment was low-temperature thermal degradation. This consisted of using highly alkaline solutions and heat to degrade the PFAS in our soil samples. We mostly studied how different bases would affect the degradation efficiency. Due to testing constraints, we had to send our samples to be analyzed by a third-party laboratory. The data given to us was in the form of PFOFA and PFAS concentrations in the soil, in units of parts per billion. This graph summarizes our findings for the low thermal degradation experiments. We kept the experiments shown here all at the same heating temperatures and heating durations. The only variable was the type of base. All bases were kept at 5 molar. Comparing the various bases to the PFAS concentration in untreated soil, it's evident that KOH and NaOH were most effective in degrading both PFOA and PFOS. Calcium hydroxide was definitely not as effective and yielded higher variance between the 3 trials as evident by the larger error bar. In addition, we can also see that the PFOA was more effectively degraded amongst all base types in comparison to PFOS.
We compared the cost of our design with commercial incineration to see if it is economically viable. The low temperature thermal degradation was priced at $21 per cubic foot of soil treated. The majority of our solution's cost stems from the large amounts of alkali solution necessary to carry out the degradation. On the other hand, incineration is priced at $15 to $23 per cubic foot, with the majority of the cost coming from high energy usage needed for high temperature degradation. However, this does not include the price of excavating the soil and pre-treatment. The differences in price can be attributed to incineration using far more energy than our solution.
Our second approach involves using a traditional biofilter setup. The biofilter columns contains layers of different materials. The top layer is a layer of contaminated soil, followed by a 7:3 ratio of compost to sand mixture. Next, there is a gravel layer to promote drainage, and a layer of clean soil at the bottom to mimic clean soil from the ground. For each trial, we added 100 milliliters of DI water at the top and measured PFAS content in both top and bottom soil layers. The idea here is that PFAS coming from the top soil layer will be absorbed by the filter media in the biofilter to the extent where the clean soil at the bottom will remain uncontaminated. This video shows water flowing through the columns in real time. Unfortunately, we were not able to obtain any presentable results from this setup due to time constraints. The next steps in our experimental design would be to test the low temperature thermal degradation setup with other bases such as lithium hydroxide. In addition, we would like to vary other variables such as treatment time, temperature, soil type, as well as testing with soil from known PFAS contaminated sites. Special thanks to CTDEEP for sponsoring this project, the Complete Environmental Testing Lab for sample testing, and Dr. Yu Lei from Yukon Chemical Engineering Department for all the guidance and support.